All right, guys, you guys are going to love this one. So, tokenization has officially moved from experimental pilots to live production on Wall Street, with the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation set to begin limited tokenized securities trading in July of 2026 and a full platform launch in October of 2026. The milestone involves tokenizing actual tangible assets held in custody, including Russell 1000 constituents, ETFs, and U.S. Treasuries while maintaining existing investor rights and protections. Major financial institutions are rapidly integrating blockchain infrastructure to enable 24/7 trading, instant settlements, and stable coin-based funding. The New York Stock Exchange, NYSE, is developing a tokenized securities platform in partnership with BNY Mellon and Citibank. Well, NASDAQ has received SEC approval to test blockchain-issued asset frameworks. This convergence is supported by regulatory clarity, including the Genius Act and SEC No Action Letters, which have facilitated a market expansion projected to reach $80 billion to $4 trillion in real-world assets by 2028. So why is tokenization hitting the mainstream so important? Let's talk about that. So there's a document that I've read multiple times on this channel, multiple different parts of it. I'm not going to go through the whole thing today because it's too long. I will leave all the source links to everything I'm showing you in this video down below. But it's from Policy Horizons Canada, who runs the Biodigital Convergence, creating the policy, the global policy. This document is called Biodigital Today and Tomorrow. It was released in 2022. And as you can see by the picture here, it's a SIM chip merging with your genes, with your DNA. Okay? It's bio and digital converging together, merging together. Your body and the digital world meshing, which is exactly what 6G is all about. So now you come down to the 5.0 health section and you keep scrolling down. Okay? There's lots of interesting stuff in this paper, like the CRISPRization of humans, what your future healthcare will look like in this biodigital convergence. I would strongly suggest reading the entire document, but today we're going to go through the most important piece that has to do with tokenization. So biodatabases. Now listen very, very closely and carefully right now. This was written in 2022. It is a global document that is basically like a think tank that's in Canada, and they're writing the policy considerations that every one of the 194 member states of the United Nations are going to be basically copying and pasting and implementing it into their policy to push through the biodigital convergence or the bioeconomy, because that's what the entire economy is moving into. It's called the bioeconomy. So biodatabases, DNA databases could become a source of income and health security. In the coming years, it could be possible and relatively simple to collect DNA information using a smartphone. As biodata becomes more ubiquitous, questions surrounding who collects, uses, retains, and discloses it will become pivotal. Applications, apps, smartwatches, wearables, and phones are already collecting biodata outside the traditional healthcare sector. An extension of this data collection would be commercial and consumer engagement with biomic or genomic data. DNA data marketplaces based on blockchains could emerge, allowing individuals or designated data trusts to share genomic information with corporations, academic researchers, and even governments in exchange for benefits or payments. Let me repeat that. In exchange for benefits or payments. That's UBI, Universal Basic Income. So that's all we're going to read from this document. We're going to move over to another document. I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible so it makes sense for you. So now all I did, because we heard in that Biodigital Today and Tomorrow about DNA data marketplace, okay, based on blockchain. So all I did was go to Google, any browser. In this case, I'm using Brave, and I typed in blockchain DNA data marketplace. So blockchain DNA data marketplaces are decentralized platforms that allow individuals to store, control, and monetize their genomic data. eliminating traditional corporate intermediaries like 23andMe. These systems use cryptocurrency tokens and smart contracts to facilitate secure transactions between data owners and researchers or pharmaceutical companies, ensuring privacy through encryption and anonymous identity management. Key platforms in this emerging space include Nebula Genomics offers free or low-cost whole genome sequencing in exchange for Nebula tokens, allowing users to sell access to their encrypted data to researchers while retaining control over who can view it. EncryptGen Gene Chain, the first blockchain-enabled DNA marketplace, enabling users to upload data from other providers, set their own price for access, and receive payments in DNA tokens. Xenome uses a distributed network of nodes to fragment and encrypt data, allowing users to earn ZNA tokens by contributing data to genomic analysis without exposing their full genome to any single entity. DNA Atix provides genetic wallets for anonymous data exchange, rewarding users with DNA Tix tokens for participating in research studies. These marketplaces address the privacy and consent concerns of traditional genetic testing by giving users the ability to grant or revoke access dynamically. However, the industry faces challenges including cryptocurrency volatility, regulatory uncertainty, and the need for large user base to create valuable data sets for research. So they already have a DNA data marketplace based on blockchain where you can monetize your genomic data. This is already there, a reality, okay? But it all links into what is coming. Why the data centers? Why the AI? Why the nanotechnology in everything? I hope it all clicks by the end of this video. So now, right here on Forbes magazine, there's already a DNA token, okay? Has Block Explorer ID added to it, everything, okay? So about DNA. DNA is the blueprint of life and now the foundation of a revolutionary meme coin. Bridging biology and blockchain, DNA celebrates the essence of evolution and innovation. With DNA, we're rewriting the crypto genome, transparent, decentralized, and unstoppable, from holders to innovators. This token unites a vibrant community driven by curiosity and creativity. It's not just a coin, it's a movement to evolve the way we think about memes, money, and the molecular magic of life. So it's already being traded on CoinMarketCap through this DNA data marketplace. So now all I did was I went to Google, Brave in my case, doesn't matter what browser, you're going to get the same information. Staking your body. Staking your body refers to futuristic Web3 concept where individuals use biometric data such as DNA or iris scans to verify their physical existence and potentially earn passive income or access to decentralized financial services. This process involves zero-knowledge proofs and hardware attestation to create a cryptographic certificate of biological reality without exposing raw sensitive data, effectively turning physiology into liquidity. Key aspects of this concept include biometric verification, uses sensor and scanners to confirm a unique living person, generating a ZK proof that is sent to the blockchain while raw data is destroyed or kept encrypted via fully homomorphic encryption. Economic implications. Users might stake their biological identity to receive Universal Basic Income, UBI, payouts, or grant lab access to genetic data. This raises significant privacy risks regarding family, medical history, and data cloning. Privacy risk. Critics argue this creates a new form of economic coercion and total de-anonymization where the right to join the digital economy is bought at a price of surrendering biological privacy. Now, I'm going to add to that as a critic and privacy risks. If you accept this and you stake your body for a universal basic income, I'm pretty sure there will be mandates attached to that where you will have to provide the government whatever biological data they require of you in order to receive a universal basic income. Now that your body is a token on this network, because as soon as you take that universal basic income, that's what you are going to be doing. You are going to be staking your body on this DNA network. So we're going to read the article from Forklog, which is like a crypto forking service. Staking your body on the biopolitics of the Web3 era. This was written 27/02/2026. The rise of artificial intelligence has put traditional online verification under strain. Text, passwords, CAPTCHA, and facial recognition algorithms no longer guarantee a user's uniqueness. The digital realm now depends on a cryptographic proof of humanness. The Web3 industry is moving to a new tier of identification, turning the physical body into a universal access instrument. The iris, palm, vein patterns, heartbeat, and genetic code are becoming the primary keys to the new economy. Your golden age. Forklog examines how the philosophical concept of biopolitics is taking shape in blockchain networks, why metaverses want users' biological data, and what risks lurk in trading one's own genome. Bare life in Web3. The modern idea of biopolitics was formulated in the mid-1970s by Michael Foucault. The French philosopher showed that as the modern state emerged, power turned to governing populations and economy through medicine, hygiene, and demography. The human body became an object of political regulation via disciplinary institutions, schools, hospitals, prisons, statistics, and mechanisms to control the quality and duration of life. Foucault's observations were later radicalized by the Italian political philosopher Giorgio Agamben in Homo Sacer, Sovereign Power and Bare Life, 1995. He introduced the term bare life, nuda vita, a condition in which a person is stripped of political subjecthood and treated purely as a biological organism. Web3 can be seen as the basis for a new economic infrastructure in which the states and capital's monopoly over identity cedes to decentralized protocols. Here, blockchain networks forge their own biopolitics. The physical body is no longer merely a vessel for the mind. The organism becomes a generator of data. Today's technologies are turning bare life into digitized life. A unique DNA nucleotide sequence or an unrepeatable iris pattern becomes the foundation of social capital. In future, protocols may require users to prove biological reality in exchange for access to financial services, governance, and capital allocation. From iris to DNA, the evolution of biometric networks. The crypto industry's mass encounter with biometrics began with projects like World, formerly known as WorldCoin. Its developers built an orb specifically to scan the iris by providing a biometric imprint. Participants received WLD, so that's WorldCoin tokens, and a World ID digital passport. The launch ignited a debate over the ethics of swapping unique biological markers for financial assets. Even so, the idea of Universal Basic Income, UBI, financed by protocol tokenomics, duly attracted millions of users. World's early lead in proof of personhood proved short-lived. New protocols changed how data are gathered. Hardware constraints are giving way to mobile technologies. The Humanity Protocol deployed a network on Polygon that uses palm biometrics, including vein scanning, via smartphones or dedicated devices. It does not require ORD-level specialized hardware, dramatically accelerating network scaling. The TON ecosystem integrated human codes solutions. Telegram users can verify identity by scanning a palm directly from the mini apps. Developers rely on cryptographic protection of biometric vectors inside the phone using secure enclave standards available to iOS users. Progress in the sector is pushing towards deeper data. Startups are laying the groundwork for DNA collection. Projects at the intersection of blockchain and decentralized science, DeSci, are emerging. Platforms such as Genome Deo offer to sequence a genome and encrypt the results. The genome's owner can sell time-limited access to genetic markers to pharmaceutical companies without revealing a direct link to identity. These trends point to a single economic model of total biometric coverage. It is plausible that to receive enhanced UBI payouts in future metaverses, users will need to provide a comprehensive biological profile. If base level payouts can be unlocked with a simple face scan, the mid-tier may require wearables, streaming heart rate and sleep phases. The highest level of passive income would be reserved for fully verified donors of genetic codes. So they just told you right there, once you take your UBI, there's going to be levels to this. So the more genetic DNA biological data you agree to, the higher your universal basic income will be. The less stuff that you agree to do and take part in, the lower your universal basic income will be. They just told you that clear as day right there.
We started something big, and I believe firmly that it become bigger and bigger as our devices will move from being in electronics to being more and more embedded with biology. Just look at the 6G standardization, how it is going. Biology is all there.
Because if we collect information from every individual in the world, there will be a lot of information here, right? So then you have the scalability problem. You need the scalable, secure solutions, for example, right?
Another question, is it possible to remotely reprogram those bacteria you put inside the human body?
Yes.
So if so, the security risk is much more challenging than we thought.
Absolutely, yeah. So actually, that's true. Like
at the beginning, you mentioned the network is two-way. So if the network communication is two-way and we can reprogram the bacteria we are putting inside the body, we have a huge risk of security over there.
This part is the cyber world, right? So now, of course, that's really very, very important that somebody will send all the wrong information and it can create a zombie, right? All the device inside can malfunction, right? So it's very, very important that who is transmitting or who is reprogramming that, right? So of course, it's very important.
And somebody, in fact, can cut the communication with the internet, and like a man in the middle attack, and come to the near field communication and reprogram it. And this is a huge attack.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's very likely, and that's why. It's extremely important, that part I kept saying about security, right, in the cyberspace. So that's an open issue, and hopefully, people will behave nicely. But that's not the case, unfortunately. You're right. So now somebody can come and then really reprogram you and kill you, even. So now somebody can come and then really reprogram you and kill you, even.
Genomics economy, based on genomic networks. Tell us what you mean by genomics economy.
Well, sequencing any genome costs money. Again, as you alluded to, the very first ones cost millions of dollars. The very first one cost $1 billion. But now it's sub $1,000. And we can extract a lot of value out of this genomic information. We're just learning how to interpret it and extract value for both health and potentially economy. Whether it's medicine development, whether it's understanding how our various traits link to the way a drug is developed and so on. So there is an emerging biological economy coming from the world of genomic sequence information. Well, in the same way that your genome really represents your program, we're leaving more and more digital information in our lives today, whether it's our emails, our social media, et cetera, et cetera. All of that information can be gathered and collected to make a very good digital representation of you, almost a digital twin. This can go down at a systems level, your whole body, if your body's been scanned, right down to the cellular level today, which you can think of as a virtual twin of a living cell, which is now increasingly testable. So these digital twins, or you can think of them as avatars, are going to become much more important for understanding an individual, their health, their development, their metabolism, and so on. So this is going to be, I believe, one of the main applications of AI analysis and the incredible amount of digital information that we're collecting about each other. I've been working in the field of synthetic biology now for over a decade, which is really learning how to program biological systems. And the easiest things to program, because they have the smallest programs, are viruses. And I look at viruses as essentially USB sticks, memory drives, that need a cell, which you can think of as a computer, to execute the programs. But they're very specific for plugging in. So we design viruses that when they dock with a cancer cell, essentially load a program that says, cancer cell, you need to die. But just like software that we may have on a computer software on a USB stick, it can deliver a useful program or it can deliver malware. So I think we're in probably the most significant period in biotechnology for the next 20 years where we have to figure out the right systems to drive it towards positive applications and minimize the potential for biological hacking, so to speak.
Now we already have systems that have computing capacity of an 8-bit computer like Commodore 64. To make sure we don't lose control over the nanorobots after they're injected, my team developed nanorobots that carry antennae. These antennae are made from metal nanoparticles. Now, the antenna enabled the nanobots to respond to externally applied electromagnetic fields. So these versions of nanobots can actually be activated with the press of a button on a joystick. Or, for example, using a controller such as the Xbox or Wii, if you ever had the chance to play with those. And you can see one of my students in the lab try configuring an Xbox app to control nanobots. For example, you can imagine nanorobots being injected to Dana, my daughter, for example, and the doctor can guide those robots into the site, into the leg, and just activate them with a hand gesture. And you can already see an example where we actually took cancer cells and loaded robots with cancer drugs and activated the drug by a hand gesture, and we can actually kill cancer cells just by doing this, which as you can see here. And the interesting thing is that because the controller, like the Xbox, is connected to the internet, the controller actually links those nanobots to the network. So they have an actual IP address, and they can be accessed from a remote device sitting on the same network. For example, my doctor's smartphone. So just by controlling the controller, this can be done. The last thing I'm going to show is, if you look at our body, you'll see that every cell type, every organ, every tissue has their own unique molecular signature. And this is equivalent to a physical IP address made of molecules. And if you know these molecules, you can use those nanobots to browse the organism wide web, as we call it. And you can program them to look for bits. This could be, for example, signaling molecules between cells, and either fetch them for diagnostics or carry them to different addresses. And we already have robots that can hijack signals between cells and manipulate an entire network of communication between cells. And this is great for controlling very complex diseases in which many cell types communicate and orchestrate and perpetuate the disease. So, before I finish, I'd just like to thank my amazing team at Bar-Ilan University and all the colleagues that took part in this extraordinary journey, starting from the George Church Lab in Harvard and ending today at Bar-Ilan University in the Faculty of Life Sciences. And I really hope that anywhere between a year and 5 years from now, we'll be able to use these in humans and finally witness the emergence of nanobot society. Thank you very much.
I'm here today to tell you that we're actually hacking the software of life and that it's changing the way we think about prevention and treatment of disease. So here's all the biology you need to know in 30 seconds. Our body is made out of organs. Our organs are made out of cells. And in every cell, there's this thing called messenger RNA, or mRNA for short, that transmits the critical information from the DNA, our genes, to the protein, which is really the stuff we're all made out of. This is the critical information that determines what a cell will actually do. And so we think of it like an operating system. And so if you could actually change that, which we call the software of life, if you could introduce a line of code or change a line of code, It turns out that has profound implications for everything. So many of us get a vaccine. What is a vaccine? It is an injection in our arm where we get bits and pieces of the virus, the proteins. And that teaches our immune system to recognize the virus, and so when we get infected, we're not sick. Now imagine if instead of giving the protein, we would give the instructions on how to make the protein, how the body can make its own vaccine. That's an mRNA vaccine, and here's what it looks like from the cell. So the traditional approach has protein floating around your cells. An mRNA vaccine approach has the cells themselves in your own body making the vaccine. What's more alarming, a stranger prowling the neighborhood or somebody who just broke into your ground floor and tripped the alarm? That's what happens with an mRNA vaccine. You've tripped the alarm wire, and now the cell is dialing 911. It's calling the police at the same time as it's making the protein and saying that's the bad guy. If you think about what it is we're trying to do, we've taken information and our understanding of that information and how that information is transmitted in a cell, and we've taken our understanding of medicine and how to make drugs, and we're fusing the two. We think of it as information therapy.
Beyond the Internet of Things is something called the Internet of Nano Things, which is picture, nanoparticles that are floating through your bloodstream and then doing various things, like checking for, the same thing that your body will do, for example, the presence of invading pathogens as an example. So these nanoparticles or nanosensors need to be nano-networked, and they're talking about a couple of different ways to do it. And one of the obvious things, this is not the mind-blowing part yet, one of the obvious things to do is to have nano antennas on the nanosensors that then communicate to a micro gateway, and that's kind of what you would expect, right? You build this really small radio and you do some power scavenging in the blood to kind of power it up, and you send these terahertz signals just, a little bit, further away, and then from there move up to a gateway. So what they're talking about doing, and they have a number of different ways that they think they can do it, is actually using the same biological mechanisms that the body uses right now, or known in biology, to occur. So for example, using viruses or bacteria that are carrying encoded DNA messages is one example. Also using neural networks to be able to do it as well. So the idea would be, picture you have all these little nanosensors floating through your body, and then they're actually generating their own coded DNA messages that are then diffusing through your bloodstream until they get to this micro gateway that then converts them to a radio signal that then talks to your smartphone and says, oh my God, Joe just got the flu or cut his finger or whatever. It's just that thinking about biological means of data networking to me is the most amazing technology.
To visualize this coming onslaught of data from a variety of sources, and also the fact that the human body is really poised to become the key node on the network. I'm sure Oleg will talk about the Internet of Things, but the sort of the Internet of Everything, where the human body really becomes a central piece. And one of the, I'll talk about a little bit later, I suppose, one of the strategies of pulling this together is really creating interdisciplinary groups of people who up until now might not have realized that they have a lot to talk about. We're going to have new models of content, and a lot of the content will come from the body, and sort of working on a vision of, in a sense, the computer exploding onto the built environment, so that information is displayed everywhere, coming from a variety of sources. And the linchpin of this, I think, is going to be the body and biometrics.
And the question is, what may be the effects of 6G on human health? What would you say that could be?
Well, I think I already addressed that. I mean, I think, one of the great capabilities of even 5G and going forward into 6G is, health, body area networking, where you can monitor what's going on in your body, in real time, and it can be, downloaded to your cell phone for analysis and so forth, or it can be transmitted to your physician for analysis. So people with, for example, heart conditions, rather than being monitored once a month, they can be monitored in real time. And, data analytics can be used to let them know if there's some issue that they need to deal with, and that's a capability you can only get with a body area network. There's really no other way to do that.
I just finished 5G. I was a leader on 5G getting that done. And now they're up to 6.
Let's do it again.
What does that do? Give you a little bit deeper view into somebody's skin? What does that do? Give you a little bit deeper view into somebody's skin? So the 6 is coming, huh?
It's coming.
Does it ever end? And what happens? You'll be into 7, right? Before 6 gets old, you'll be into 7.
Injection is exactly based on this idea. So all these fluids, right, there are nanoscale machines inside, right? So when you look inside. Internal bio-nano things, these are for the health applications. I did also a lot of research on that the last 15 years. Bio-nanoscale machines, but these are for the, injecting into the body and always monitoring the health problems. And that is also really going really well. Like these COVID vaccines, it's going that direction. These mRNAs are nothing than small scale, nanoscale machines, right? They're programmed and they're injected. And then into other nanoscale things. So those will be part of 7G and beyond, right? Another issue is that I'm having the same problem, maybe you too. There are some people, they're attacking me in the background about ethical issues. I hope it doesn't happen to you, that there are these paranoias that we are doing these things that we are trying to poison the world. I'm serious. So I hope it's not happening to you, but I assume it does. So we have to also teach these people that what we are doing is really helping the mankind. It's not just.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're definitely right. I receive these questions as well. I mean, they attack through the ethical aspect, or they attack through the privacy security aspect. What are you going to do when you connect my brain or when you connect my kidney? I'm telling I don't have such intentions, or none of the people doing this research have such intention. Of course, when we come up with any engineering solution or science, it could be used for good or bad, right? We know from the Manhattan Project example or anything of that sort. So,
in fact, unfortunately, some maniacs in the U.S. found all my work the last 18 years. I'm getting a lot of hatred mail, so my life is in danger. They think that I'm Dr. No in James Bond movies, that I'm trying to manipulate human lives, but it's, I'm not the only one. There are many people working on this subject, Hopefully, people will behave nicely, but that's not the case, unfortunately. You're right. So now somebody can come and then really reprogram you and kill you even.
So today we're again talking about the connected human and body computing and wearables, and our hashtag for today is ConnectedX.
Hi, I'm J.I. Oreo. I'm the Director of Innovation at the IEEE Standards Association. My primary focus is, I come at wearables in a sort of tangential way. My primary focus is mixed reality and virtual worlds. So in one sense, the wearables impinge on my area in this way, some way to visualize this coming onslaught of data from a variety of sources, and also the fact that the human body is really poised to become the key node on the network. I'm sure Oleg will talk about the Internet of Things, but the sort of the Internet of Everything, where the human body really becomes a central piece. We're going to have new models of content, and a lot of the content will come from the body, and sort of working on a vision of, in a sense, the computer exploding onto the built environment, so that information is displayed everywhere, coming from a variety of sources, and a linchpin of this, I think, is going to be the body and biometrics.